A quick introduction to start. My name is Bob Kelly. I run product management for AdminStudio as well as the software vulnerability management solutions for Flexera. And with me is Kiran.
Hi, I'm Kiran Mantagi. I'm the technical product manager for Application Readiness product lines, which includes AdminStudio and Workflow Manager.
Yeah, good stuff. So you got the whole AdminStudio product management team here. I've got another session at 2 to talk about AdminStudio, what's new, what's coming. This session is really about automating AdminStudio. There's a process that you want to follow to get consistent packages. You all certainly have some kind of system in place. What we want to talk today about is what you can use to actually automate as much of that process as possible. And it's something that I think, first, a show of hands, how many people have AdminStudio and use it today? Okay, good. You're in the right place. So a lot of people, talking to customers and stuff, we'll go and we'll sit down and get questions about automation, and there's generally not a good understanding about all this cool work that went into AdminStudio to allow it to be automated. You can do things in bulk, of course, in the UI, select a bunch of packages and do things in bulk, but there's PowerShell commandlets written specifically to help automate and control all of that through scripts. And there hasn't been any good material on how to take advantage of that, and that was kind of the catalyst for this session. We wanted to actually walk you through it, what can be done, how to do it. Kiran put some time into a good initial script that you can use. We'll be providing a link following the event to the script that we're going to demo here that you can take and modify for your own use. So we'll show it to you and walk you through it and help you understand it, but then we'll give it to you, so you don't have to actually write the code that you're going to be taking through here. So to start, I kind of want to talk about application readiness. We use the term application readiness at Flexera about what AdminStudio does, because it isn't a repackaging tool. It does repackaging, but it does a ton more. And this whole idea of getting insight in your package and being able to reduce risk before deploying it to your environment, making sure it's going to work and not have negative effects, is really something that is way beyond just the scope of a repackaging tool. I think everybody understands the benefits of a strong process. These commandlets are going to help you to automate it and save a bunch of time. So what is application readiness? It's a process, right? So everybody has a process where they want to get consistent packages out. And the consistency, I think, is the most important thing in any process, so that when you have something go wrong or a new package comes in, you know what you're going to do. You're not reinventing the wheel every time, and you get something that is reliable and consistent, and that can be related to any of your deployment options that you need, because some applications you're going to want to virtualize, some are going to be an MSI. In many cases you might want to have both, and this process here is set up to help you with both of those. Why? From a benefit standpoint, you want to get your silent installation package. That's the puzzle you need to solve for every application in your environment. And it doesn't matter if it's a new application or an application that you already have that needs an update. I think everybody spends probably more of their time on updates than they do new applications. And then when there's a Windows migration, of course, there's a surge in repackaging activity and collection of these silent command lines, and how do you get your custom install out there the way you want it in your enterprise. And that's the key thing, is how you want it in your enterprise. So you want to turn off automatic updates. You want to keep shortcuts off the desktop. And you want to do this for all of your packages. And so figuring all that out is part of this whole process. In the end, it's going to be, by minimizing the risk of the package in your environment, you're going to end up with something that's going to be generating less support calls, and it's going to reduce the downtime. I think the worst thing for your team to go through would be a bad package deployment, where you send something out there and you break the end user's machine. Because the first thing they're going to do is say, well, who came to my machine and messed it up? And then they'll find out there's this magic group of packagers in the background that are updating their machine during the night and during the day. And once you kind of expose yourself, if you're doing your job great, they never know you exist, right? And then you make a mistake, and now you're going to be where the finger's pointed every time something doesn't work, you know? The printer's slow, or it was slow to log on this morning. It's probably because those packaging guys sent another package to my machine and caused a problem. So your best day is the day where nobody knows you did a thing. And being able to look into your packages and see before you roll it out, is there a conflict? Is it going to have a problem being virtualized? Is it going to have a problem on the version of Windows you're deploying it to? That kind of insight prior to deployment is going to increase your likelihood of success. So the readiness process, I think everybody probably has something very similar to all of this. Maybe there's more boxes in your environment, probably not too much less. The first thing you got to do is identify, right? So if you're doing a Windows migration, that's going to be an inventory. What's out there? What do I need to be concerned with? It could also be a new application request or an application replacement. You've got the application coming in, and then you've got to figure out what do you need to do. So rationalize is the idea that, okay, especially if you're doing an inventory for a migration project, you might see that you have 5 video file viewers. Do you need 5? You could save yourself a lot of time packaging, deploying, updating, and probably licensing if it's a paid product, by rationalizing and trying to have as little overlap in functionality between your packages as possible. Assessing compatibility, that's what I was talking about, getting insight into your packages. That's what AdminStudio provides at the pro and enterprise level, where there's this application catalog, a database where all your packages go, and you get insight into all the things we've discussed. The next one is probably the one we've spent the most time on, especially here at this event talking about, and that's fixing the package. So if you've identified that there is a problem with compatibility, if there is a problem with conflicting with another application, fixing those things. So they're identified, do something about it, and then package and deploy. So that package could be a repackage, it could be a vendor command line with some scripting around it, it could be something that you wrap and deploy with your own enterprise template. And finally, deploy. When we talk about deploy, we're talking about not pushing it to the end units directly, but passing it to your distribution system of choice. How many people are using SCCM in their environment? Okay, the majority. And because of that majority, that's where AdminStudio put the bulk of its effort in terms of providing a good experience to pass it off to SCCM, so that we are passing over as much information as possible, so that when you are finished here and you sit down in SCCM, you don't have to set up the application and tell it a bunch of things that AdminStudio already knew. We can pass that over. So what we're going to talk about is automating all this. AdminStudio, like I said, it's a bunch of tools. When I came to Flexera a year ago, one of the first things I thought I was going to do is come in and fix the price, because for a repackager, it's too expensive, and it's not a repackager. I got learned pretty quick. Kiran had been around for a while, and one of the people to straighten me out, that repackaging, really, the way I look at it, it's a list of 30 things, and repackager's way down the bottom, really. Because that's something that a lot of tools do. It's kind of commoditized. It's simple. But there's so many other tools to automate the creation of packages, to test the packages, to convert the packages, to gain insight and the reports that are provided to minimize your risk. There's just a ton in here. And taking advantage of that, even if you know that you have the capability to get all your packages into a catalog and see application compatibility, virtualization suitability, Java dependencies is another one we added recently. So you can see what applications in your environment contain Java or rely on Java, and what version, and is that version EOL? I mean, these kinds of reports can save you an incredible amount of time. Just QA, for example, if you have to update Java in your environment, what applications do you need to test before you roll that out? So being able to look at a report that tells you here, out of your 800 applications that you care about, these 40 are affected by Java, and these are the versions that they need, and you're updating it to this. It really helps you focus in and minimize the risk that you would have. But even knowing about that capability, it takes time, right? You got to take the package, put it in the database, run the reports, and get the results, and learn from the results, and benefit from those results. But it takes time, and the more packages you have, the more time it takes. So the idea here was to put together a single script, a single PowerShell script that would let you automate as much of this as possible. And I think we've got a pretty good sample script where it will handle different conditions and get you most of the way there without having to be in front of AdminStudio at all. So you want to talk to the setup or cut straight over?
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Bob. All right, so let's do some automation now. So what we are going to do now is we'll look at a few of the commandlets, the PowerShell commandlets that are being used in this script that I'm going to demo. And then we'll also look at a few other scripts which are not exactly used in the script but are going to be very, very valuable to you guys. Now, before you get your AdminStudio ready for automation, there are some prerequisites, and these are the ones. You'll have to set up the AdminStudio, of course, and import the commandlets, and then you should be all ready to go.
And you even have that in the script that we'll be providing, right?
Yes, exactly. So the script would also take care of this part, so you're all set. Now, the way it is being written is the script would be looking at a folder. It will be monitoring. It will be watching a folder. Now, let's consider a scenario of a software request. So when there is a new software request, you take a software, a package, it could be MSI or EXE or any other format, and put it in the folder. Now, this script is watching the folder. So the moment a package sits there, comes into that folder, the script would pick it up and take it through the application readiness process. So we'll see all that in the demo.
And that was one of the first fun challenges, right? So we came up with this idea of, well, how should it start? So this idea of an inbox folder I thought was a good one. You get a new package, you put it in the folder, and it does its thing. And then Kiran found, well, there's a bunch of ways to monitor that folder. Some of them require the script window is up all the time, the script's running, checking all the time. Scheduler was another way we could have the script run and check the folder at some interval. And that's the one we ultimately went with.
Right. So we thought it may not be a real case that you want to keep your script window always open to run your watching. So thought maybe that's not a right way. So we took the scheduling approach where you could schedule this script, depending on what cycle you run. It could be, once in a week, once in a month, however, and the script should take care of the things. All right. So now we'll look at a few commandlets. So before getting into the commandlets, so AdminStudio Enterprise has got great automation capabilities. Now the way the automation capabilities are exposed are through the PowerShell commandlets. We'll have to get in few modules imported into PowerShell console, which even the script takes care. And once those are imported, you'll start seeing these commandlets in your PowerShell, and you should be all set to use those. Now, the very first one that you'd usually want to use is this one. This is set is config platform. So this commandlet basically configures your AdminStudio, makes it ready for automation, for further steps. Here is where you configure the catalog, the application catalog. I'll talk about the application catalog in a bit now, and then you could do a lot of other settings. I've just kept it simple here, but you could extend it really to add a lot of configurations to AdminStudio. Now, in a case where you don't have application catalog, so let me take a step back and talk about application catalog. So application catalog is where all the magic happens. That is the most valuable feature of AdminStudio. Application catalog is a database event, essentially. That is where you get all your software packages into. It could be MSI or EXE. We refer that as importing a package. So you could take a package, put it in the catalog, and then you could run our tests. It could be operating system compatibility tests, it could be best practices, it could be checking if it's a good candidate for virtualization, and just about a release ago in June, we added a new category for MSIX. So you could take a MSI and check if it's a good candidate for MSIX conversion. Right, so that is a value that catalog brings. And now, along with that, it also comes with beautiful reporting, the report that Bob was talking about, Java dependencies. All those reports would be available in the catalog. So in case you guys are not using application catalog, I would highly recommend to set it up to get the best value of AdminStudio.
And we actually took some of the things like application compatibility and Mac and mobile.
Right.
There was a couple of different optional modules that used to be available before that are now included in the base product. So one of the things we did earlier this year was pull those optional modules into the core product. So now all that is there. So even if you didn't buy application compatibility, you have it if you have Pro or Enterprise. The virtualization pack was the other one.
Right.
And then at the same time, we added one new module. We took all those into the core product and added one new one. And that new one is called App Risk module. And what that does is look in your catalog for applications that might have vulnerabilities. So either before you deploy an application or weeks later after a vulnerability becomes available, we can look in your catalog and tell you that there is a security update for this application and what criticality that is, so you can prioritize the details behind it, what version you need to be up to. And you can schedule that to run on a regular basis too. So before you deploy the application, you can know that there isn't a security update there already. Probably you're downloading the latest copy as part of your packaging process. So you should run into a situation where you're deploying a vulnerable package. But like I said, a week later, things change all the time. There's constantly software vulnerabilities being announced. And this can be set to run daily or weekly. And then in this same catalog, you can see these are the applications that now have vulnerabilities and take action on those.
Cool. So this is the commandlet which would help you to create a catalog. The previous one, this is where you already have. You could configure the catalog here. Now, let's say you don't have the catalog at all, and you're creating the catalog for the first time. You could use this one. Sorry, this one. All right, so this is import, like I said, getting a package into AdminStudio for all the processing, for getting into the package, breaking it open and understanding what's the problem, what are the issues with package, you will have to import. Now, this commandlet is going to do just that. So it looks for a package, and then it gets it inside the catalog. All you have to do is just pass the path. So here is an example how you could bring a package into AdminStudio catalog. Now, so these are commandlets. So these are the set of commandlets that I've actually used in the script, and we'll see those running live. So these are the commandlets which would tell you if a package, it could be MSI, if a package is a good candidate for virtualization. And we support various virtualization technologies. We have Microsoft AppV, we have VMware ThinApp. Citrix, I think, is coming down, but we also did support Citrix, and we also supported Semantic, but it's not there. But the idea is we support various formats of virtual packages, right? So you check if a package is good for conversion using the first one, get AS virtual readiness, and when you figure out it's actually a good candidate, you could use the second commandlet to actually convert it. So you could check if it's a good candidate and then convert. So these two work well together. Here is where you could define, what kind of virtual format you would want.
We've got some people using application virtualization today. Put your hand down if it's ThinApp. Everybody AppV? AppV?
Good to know. All right. This, I think, is the most valuable commandlet in AdminStudio. So this is the commandlet which actually gets into the package and tries to understand what are the issues with the package. It could be OS compatibility. It could be best practices. We have also defined few risk assessments. We also have the Microsoft ICE rules, and the latest one is the MSX conversion compatibility. So this commandlet gets into package and sees if there are any issues with the package. And then it returns the issues along with the details. This is the problem with your package, and you got to go here and then fix it. We also go one step further. We also identify few issues that we can fix automatically. AdminStudio can fix automatically, and that is what the next one is going to do, this one. So the first one would go and look for issues, and this one is going to fix those issues for you. While not all of those can be fixed, but we know we have few things that we can easily fix using AdminStudio, so we fix those issues, and then if you have a distribution system set up, like configuration manager, most of you guys, you could use this as a good decision, run the package through test, resolve them, and see if you have any errors. If you don't, then use that candidate for sending it to your deployment system. It's a good candidate to be deployed.
And it's a really good opportunity to minimize risk. So what this isn't is functional acceptance testing. You're not automatically running the application and seeing that it works in your environment. This is all analyzing the package itself. So we can see in the package things about application compatibility and conflicts and the ICE rules and those things that are package specific, we can remediate and mitigate ahead of time. But ultimately, you're still going to have that one process at the end where you do deploy it to a pilot machine or set of machines and get some actual functional testing. But it should be a lot more successful having gone through this.
Right, so now your package is ready. You brought it into AdminStudio. You tested it. You fixed it. Now you want to deploy it. Now, we support a bunch of distribution systems. One among them is Configuration Manager. We have a very tight integration with Configuration Manager, like Bob was mentioning. So you could set all of that app model data that is in SCCM in AdminStudio. So you don't have to even go to the console of Configuration Manager, be it be dependencies, be it be supersedence, written codes, any of those, all that entire app model data, you could set it in AdminStudio, make your application ready for deployments, and just move it to SCCM. Now, other than Configuration Manager, we support other bunch of distribution systems, Altiris, and we support VMware AirWatch. Now it's called Workspace 1. And we also support AppVServer. We support Casper for Mac. And we also support
and Casper's Jamf now.
Jamf's Prof
and
now,
yeah. Everything's name is changing on us all the time,
right.
but there's a wide range there. So if your solution isn't covered, let us know. We do have plans to add more that I'll talk about in that 2 o'clock session, but we're always looking for feedback.
So you could set, so before you deploy, you will have to tell AdminStudio where to deploy. So this commandlet is exactly going to do that. You tell this commandlet, this is the system I have, and run this commandlet with few details. Here are a couple of them. So this is setting up SCCM. So you could change this to whatever server you have. It could be Altiris, and this would set or configure AdminStudio with that particular distribution system. And this one actually distributes. So this commandlet uses the previous one to identify which distribution system you have set up. And then you just pass the package to this, and this would distribute to your distribution system, the target system, whatever you have. So this is where we end the application readiness process. Now you're all set. You identified a package, you got it into AdminStudio, you tested it, you fixed the issues, and then you moved it to a deployment system, and you're all set now. Now, the deployment system should take care of moving it to the end machines. So that is all set. So these are the scripts, these are the commandlets I've used in the script. But other than this, there are a lot of other commandlets. We have around 40 plus PowerShell commandlets in AdminStudio. So I thought I'll talk about a couple of more, which I think would be really valuable for you guys to use. Now, this is one commandlet which I think would be very valuable. So there are a lot of scenarios where one application would go and break the other one on the end machine. Now this one is going to check the inter-application conflicts. So you could have one application in AdminStudio and you could check if that is good, if it is compatible with other bunch of applications inside the application catalog. So you could use this commandlet to do that, and it would give you results, and you'd know what to do. This is a commandlet which would help you to wrap a package. Let's say it could be MSI or EXE. You take a package and you could wrap it to a PowerShell script. So we are leveraging the PowerShell deployment toolkit solution for this.
How many people are familiar with the PowerShell app deploy toolkit? Pretty good number.
Yeah, good.
Okay.
So
Yeah,
this feature exactly leverages.
We didn't reinvent anything. We decided to use what's out there. So this just helps you take advantage of that. And for those that don't know, it's a framework for PowerShell application deployment where you can put your own company-branded front end on the deployment so that you can warn the user that an application needs to shut down or reboot needs to happen, or maybe you want to let them delay the installation. All of that can be customized in a PowerShell script, which is basically a wrapper to the command line installation that you're deploying.
So we are coming up with a new release, AdminStudio 2018 R3 shortly. And the commandlet that you saw in the previous slide would be enhanced and renamed to this. The reason why we are doing is we are going one step further for wrapping. We wrapped to only a PowerShell script back in R2 and before. Now with the new release, we would also wrap a package to an EXE. So so AdminStudio would also suggest the vendor command lines. So you could use those vendor command lines, and then you could also have let's say you have some pre-install steps and post-install tasks, all that in a script, and then you could use the EXE wrapping, and that would convert your package to EXE. So that way you'll have consistent packages across your enterprise.
Yeah,
You want to add something there?
Yes, there's the PowerShell piece where you can customize that PowerShell template, wrap all your packages consistently. And I saw a lot of hands using the PowerShell app deployment toolkit. How many people wrap their packages into an executable for deployment? None in this room. How many people remember Wise Script Editor? How many people like Wise Script Editor? A bunch of hands went down. Supposed to be all excited about this. We're pulling it into the suite. So when we wrap a package with an EXE, it's going to be using Wise Script Editor. And the reason being, it is a graphical interface to creating a script that can do whatever. And so you can, again, have your pre and post, have a user interface. The things that you would do with the PowerShell wizard can also be done in this Wise Script format. So rather than that EXE just being a black box and it's just a self-extracting execute the setup and that's it, you get the ability to customize your template. And then to support that, we'll have Wise Script Editor in the suite so you could edit and customize that or use it for whatever else.
All right, awesome. All right, we'll get into the live demo now. We have seen what we are going to...
Cross your fingers. For
yeah. Now, okay. I'll have to switch to a virtual machine where I've set up the...
You go ahead and switch. I'll set it up a little bit. So
yeah.
The script he had would send an email to the two of us, and I could show you, look, I got my email saying that my package has been sent over to SCCM or what have you. But that piece and the publishing to SCCM, we can't do because we can't get into our virtual server that has that all set up. So those two pieces are commented out, but the rest of it's going to run locally on his machine so you can see it.
So this is the script that we are going to run now. This script pretty much takes care of the entire process that we discussed a few minutes ago. I'll quickly run through the script so you get an idea of what part of script does what. So we start with some user inputs. The first block that you see would be inputs from you. So you'll have to set up your input folder or the type of packages that you'd like to import. Now I've added MSI appv.exe on the top, the first line. You could extend it to have any other deployment types that you have in your enterprise. Of course, within the deployment types that are supported within AdminStudio. Likewise, you have your connection string, that is SQL Server, and then your database, all that. You don't have to worry about these. This is about just pulling up the installation details for AdminStudio, so it's fine. So the way the script is written is as functions. So we have set of functions. And at the end, you would be calling these functions to achieve the entire process. So I'm just showing you an example of one function which does the import. And I think the others I've minimized, but I'll quickly run you through. So there's import and folder import, which does multiple or bulk imports. And then there is load DLL and prep AS. This is what prepares your AdminStudio. We saw the first slide where we said we'll have to set up AdminStudio to make it ready for automation. So these two functions pretty much take care of setting up AdminStudio for automation. Now there is test part. We talked about test, looking into the package, trying to understand what the problems are, OS compatibility, best practices, risk assessments, or virtual readiness. And then you resolve, and then you distribute the package, and this is to virtualize your package. So those are the functions that we'll be using in the script, or this script already has, but that doesn't mean this is limited only to these. You could extend this to cover as many scenarios that you'd encounter in your process that you already have set up in your enterprise, right? So this is the main loop. If you look at just this part, the other part is just getting it ready for logs. But this is the main part which does the job. So that simple it is. Just 4 lines. I'm commenting creating a new catalog because I've already a catalog set up. All you have to do is just uncomment it and it's all ready, right? And distribution, like Bob said, we had some trouble getting onto VPN, so I was not able to connect to the configuration manager in our environment, so I had to comment. Or else the script is all ready if you would want to use it like right the way in the shape it is.
Do you have to comment send mail out as well?
I thought we'll try, but
okay. No, if it's good, go
yeah. For it. So what the script also does is it logs each step into a log file. It creates a log file, and then it logs each step. Okay, these are the packages you're importing. These are the packages you're testing, and these are the errors. These are the resolutions that we're giving, and then, okay, we converted this package. We couldn't convert because there is a problem, and then it would publish. Now, it would also send an email, or it would email that log file to your email list. You could just add my and Bob's.
Yeah, when you get this script, change it so we don't get all of your...
Yeah. Okay, so this is the folder that the script would be monitoring. So now it's blank, so I'll just drop a couple of packages there, and then we'll run, and we'll see how it goes. And this is the place where I thought I'll put the virtualized packages, because after the package is virtualized, it has to be put somewhere. So I'm putting it in this folder. So we'll come back to this folder and see if the virtual package comes. And this is the place where I'll be having logs. Okay, let's run it then. I'll just take 2 sample packages that I have here, and then move it here. Okay. Now, this is also AdminStudio. What you're seeing, this is the application catalog view, and it's all empty. And you'd see applications coming up here. It identified the first one, Blender.
So far, so good.
Yeah, demos, right? Now, while it's going through, I would also like to say a few things where you could extend the script and how you could extend the script. Now, what I've done here is I've just got a package inside, and then I thought of publishing, but because of the environment, I couldn't. But there would be real case scenario where you'd want to set up some app model data onto your package. You would want to set up, let's say, dependency or a supersedence or something like that, or detection methods. Now, we have commandlets which would also do that. So you could say, I want to set a detection method, and you could say what detection method is that, and run that commandlet, and it would set. So maybe you would want to do that before you publish. So you test, you fix issues, make your application, or add some app model data onto your application, and then publish. Where are we? Okay. Oh, good. All right. What are the things here?
Yeah, it's crazy the number of commandlets that are available. So
Right.
pretty much anything you want to do could probably be handled. So it would actually be really interesting to us to get your feedback. If you take this and it's good for you out of the box, great. But as you decide to customize it, or you think, well, wouldn't it be great if I didn't have to do this manual step or that manual step? If you find that there's something you can't do that you'd like to do, we want to hear about it. And the Flexera site has in the community ideas area where you can submit ideas for the product or enhancements, and we review and respond to those and take them very seriously. So please take advantage of that and let us know your feedback so we can improve it further. Looks like there's something in the catalog now.
Yeah, it worked. All right, we are done. So I've also added some okay. This is what you'd see as logs. We have two packages. Blender had these many errors. It had no errors. It had few warnings. And McAfee virus scan had these many. And AdminStudio, resolved everything. So this is a good candidate for publishing to SCCM. And this is still not, because there are a few more errors. So this is the package maybe you would want to go and look at what the problem is. And you could see that in UI. We had nothing here, so now it's Blender, it is MSI, and also the converted package to AppFree. This is McAfee, which got imported. And let's quickly look at our test results here. All right, so so this is Blender, all green, and this still has errors. So you could get in and look at what errors are those to understand the details, right? Then these will be your action items to go and fix it and convert it to green before you publish.
So the script looks for errors that it can automate the resolution of and fixes those.
Right.
But there are obviously things that can't be magically fixed automatically. So if you think about this as not two packages, one that was good and one that was bad, but 1,000 packages, and 50 of them have issues you got to look at, and the rest don't, or a good percentage don't, then you could quickly focus in on those that need your attention and let those that can go. Really speed things up.
All right, and let me also show you the log file. I don't know if you got a mail.
Oh boy.
Yeah. So this is your log file. So this is the log file that would be sent to you in an email. It has a thank you at the last. Yeah, and this is where your virtualized packages. It figured that Blender is a good package for conversion to a virtual app, so it converted only Blender, and it did not convert the other one because it didn't figure that it's a good package. The script took care of that. So we'll make this script available, maybe post this session, and you could use it the way it is, or if there is more to what this script has that you already have in your enterprise, you could extend it, right? And if there's any feedback at all, you could pass it on to us. We have a booth right out there. You could come over and we can definitely have a chat. I think that was pretty much what we had.
That was it. I think we're right on time too.
Yeah.
But if there are questions, we could talk now if you've got time between the next session, or like you said, we'll be at the booth and other sessions we'd love to chat.
Cool.
Thanks.
Thanks.